Hello everyone and welcome to FiST Chat, the vodcast that features discussions on the topics of film, science and technology. My name is Ben Warner and I'm joined once again by my good friend and colleague Steve Kern, who I believe is enjoying a public holiday today while the rest of us are out still toiling in the fields. How are you doing today, Steve?
Very well. Hello FiST Chat fans. Yes, I've been having a day off to think about topics of FiST Chat.
Absolutely. As long as you're working for us, it's all good.
Always.
Now, so don't forget our website, www.fistchat.com. You can get all our links there. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and interact with us. You can catch all our back episodes on YouTube, Vimeo and Digicosm TV. And you can also subscribe to our audio via RSS, iTunes and Feedburner. And also check out our blogs. And speaking of blogs, we mentioned a couple of episodes ago that we had a new website called diet2tryit.com that was launched, and we've just updated a bit more information there, and specifically it's got to do with the no added sugar diet, which almost seems half of the course, I would have thought, if you wanted to be healthy, really. You want to elaborate a bit more on that, Steve?
Interesting diet. I mean, I've been trying it, and it's interesting because there's so many different versions of what's a no added sugar diet, but the basis for it is that just low sugar, or minimal sugar outside of natural fresh foods such as fruit. And it's interesting what you find. There's a lot of sugar in processed foods, and you have to adapt accordingly. But if you go online to Try It to Diet, or Diet to Try It, I think it is, then you too can find out a little bit more about what it's like to be on a no added sugar diet.
And I think the can't even say it properly. The revealing thing, I'll use a different word, about going on a diet like this is that it really will shock you just how much sugar is in the food that we eat. It's quite, I mean, you wouldn't know, for example, bread, you wouldn't think that there's sugar in bread, but there's sugar in bread as well. So
it's an interesting thing because there's not really that much sugar in bread, but
it's still there, isn't it?
It's still there, yeah, and you can buy artisan bread that has no added sugar. So these are the sorts of things. I guess the thing that's most confronting is you realise that all those little snacks that you might have and enjoy are full of sugar. And once they have to go, well, you've got to work out how you're going to get around that.
Absolutely. So, yeah, that's sort of what we've kicked off on with diet2tryit.com. So check it out. We'll be continuing to add more content to that. And at some stage, I'll be getting on the no added sugar diet, but I don't know exactly how I'm going to cope without eating chocolate or or any of those sweet things that I like to eat. So, so it should be... Oh, sorry? Yeah.
I was just going to say that's a test for you, Ben, and all FiST Chat fans. Anyone who wants to join in or just send us a comment or a tweet,
absolutely.
You know, see what it's like, let us know.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, so we'll stick with food as we go forward because it's an important topic, and I believe we've spoken in essence about food before, but perhaps not as directly as we are on this particular episode. And just to start with, there's a magnificent TED video. Tristram Stuart, his name is, gave a talk where he's talking about the global food wastage scandal. And you watch this video and you'd be appalled at how much food gets wasted in the world. And the best way he went about trying to explain how much food we waste is he broke open a packet of biscuits, he pulled out 9 biscuits, and he basically said that we only use 4. Go to the video to see what happens to the other 5. It's almost like a calamity, really. It shouldn't happen in today's society with the amount of technology we've got, the amount of you would have thought power as well in the human mind to be able to process all of these things. And it's just shocking that so much food gets wasted in the world. And other things that he was showing too, just examples where he had these great pictures of himself against a massive stack of bananas that were rejected because they didn't look right or they weren't the right shape, but they were perfectly edible. Things like this really shouldn't be happening, and it seems more. I don't know where it's all sort of coming from, but you can't imagine things going forward like this.
No, you can't, Ben. I mean, It's I think everyone would have a parent or a grandparent who probably they remember encouraging them to eat everything on that plate. And wasn't that long ago, if you consider the Second World War, that even in the Western world, in the First World, there were severe food restrictions and food was hard to come by.
Yeah.
20 years ago, we were eating, significantly less as every meal that we do today.
Yeah.
We have an obsession with food today that's everything about food except, what it really means to have food. And that's because we're a very lucky society, we're a very wealthy society, and we're enjoying the benefits of that wealth. But people have forgotten that in another country, in this day and age, for a family, a healthy meal can be the difference between life and death. And I think that that's probably where we've gone wrong. And we waste 40% of our food in the first world purely through not eating it for whatever reason. It just spoils. We've got refrigerators, we've got, all the infrastructure, but we allow that to waste. Conversely, what's really scary is in the developing nations, 40% of food is wasted there because the infrastructure and storage doesn't exist to get that food to the people that need it. And they're the two huge stories, different ends of the scale, but I think we should all be very mindful of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you're saying, there's just all the technologies there to make this happen. And in fact, the technology that's been building up over decades that's allowed us to produce so much food, you would think we'd be able to use that technology to be able to, ration it out properly and making, maybe ration out's not the right word, but at least getting it out in a better way, make sure it's more efficient. But it's not really about the technology or the science that went behind the creation of more food. It's really an administration thing. It's probably something on a government level. It's probably something at everyday level where, you have to think about what you're doing with your food and how you're storing it and how you use it.
Well, absolutely. But look, it's, we essentially, if you think that the three basic necessities are food, water and shelter, it's natural that humans should have an obsession with food. I think what's happened is now that it's plentiful and available, and we have every media channel under the sun has got a food message somewhere embedded in it, whether it's your friend Facebooking their latest meal or recipes or the diets that you should be on or not. People are very conscious of food. But it's always about now, for us, I guess, about, what you can do with food, the freshest produce, all those sorts of things. And not thinking about, that we need to be very specific, in how we use our food. Also, our diets should be more about moderation. They shouldn't be about, cutting stuff out or the way diets always seem to be, which is losing weight. That, we should be very mindful of that in our lifestyles with sustainable sort of lifestyles. But these are things that get easily lost. And, maybe people aren't so thinking about them as much now. But all that has to happen is that will change. If we have an unfortunate drought or something that affects our food production, then people are very wary and very mindful.
Well, and just to finish up, I'm thinking, there's a tendency to, take all of this for granted, that we have just this food that's available to us, and then conversely, it runs hand in hand with obesity problems that a lot of Western societies have for eating too much food because there's too much available, and we're still wasting it as well. There's an inequity there that I think needs to be solved.
Oh, it's huge, isn't it? To think that there are those who have diseases in the third world or developing nations because they have enough food, and then, in our society, we have diseases because we have too much food. I think that's a sign that we need to be serious as a global community.
Absolutely. So we'll wrap up our main topic there. Go check out TED anyway, because they've got a lot of great stuff on their videos there. Make sure you check out that particular video. We'll chuck a link up on the Facebook and Twitter pages this week. It's definitely well worth the watch. So we'll move on to our news bites now, and one of my favourite films, food films, is Super Size Me. Always like, watching Morgan Spurlock running around to seeing how many times, he'll be supersized for each McDonald's meal he's having for the month. But sort of in a sort of related way, all of those supersized servings of drinks that you can get. Apparently, Michael Bloomberg, the mayor of New York, has gone one step further, and he's planning to ban all sugary drinks that are that size. The fact that, I can't imagine, the freedom-wheeling Republicans over there being too happy about that sort of thing, because doesn't that's like, trying to protect the populace too much. But when you have a look at how big those drinks are in America, they really do need to be banned.
Oh, look, they're big. Okay, they're big, and 16 ounces, I think, for those that don't know, is that a litre?
I'm not sure. Well, maybe someone can tell us how much that is. We probably should have checked it out, but it's a lot.
It's a lot. Now, I'm completely like the amount of fructose they put in there through corn syrup into those drinks, and the serving sizes. Yeah, it's appalling, and you shouldn't be drinking that much.
No.
But by the same token, and with just what we were talking about in terms of being mindful of food and the way we use food and not wasting food, if we require the government to legislate, then I think that's even worse than the situation we're in. People should just be mindful. I know it's hard to say no when something tastes so good.
Yeah,
but you've got to say no.
Well,
we've got to be disciplined.
And there's no better reason to go on the no added sugar diet than when you look at one of those things.
Oh dear.
All right, we'll move on to our science news bite. This one's from sciencecodex.com, and scientists find a molecular link to obesity and insulin resistance in white fat cells enabled in mice if they eat a high-calorie diet and they don't become obese, which is quite interesting because experiments on mice tend to, you can relate that to humans, can't you? So there might be something good there?
This is another one of those things. Once again, yes, great. So if you could turn off the genes that cause the ill effects of consuming too much sugar or too many calories or whatever it is, wouldn't that be fantastic?
Mm.
Do we need medical science to be doing that for us? What will that lead to? Everyone weighing 450 pounds,
yeah,
which I think is about 200 kilograms for those who don't know. And, but we won't have diabetes. But we still need forklifts to get around. I don't know, Ben. I mean, it's great. It's great that they know this stuff. Yeah. And this is, I love science and I love the fact that they're looking at those things, but please don't sell me a pill that's going to allow me to drink my 16 ounces, 24 ounces of soft drink and not get fat. That's even worse.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, and just finally, our tech news bite from technologyguide.com. There's a ballooning segment of the population turning to social media, digital gadgets, and other apps for weight loss. But does all this scorekeeping, calorie counting, meal tracking, challenges and rewards, digital monitoring, and whatever else, does it actually contribute to a serious strategy for weight loss? Well, if it actually makes you lose weight, maybe it's helpful, but, it's like any one of these other things. You think if you buy an app or, you find a diet somewhere and you think, oh, that's the magic bullet, you're probably wrong. It's really all in your head and you have to make the commitment to do it.
Well, none of these apps actually tell you how good you feel. Only you know that. No, look, I'm a highly competitive person and I love competition, but do you really need to work at that psychological level, like to stay on your diet? I mean, just eat less, just be disciplined and be happy. Be happy that you're having less deleterious effect on the planet. Be happy that you're being equitable in sharing the food for everyone, and be happy that you're healthy. And I think that you don't need apps for any of that. I mean, otherwise people are going to end up like Soylent Green, and we've all seen where that got us.
Yeah, absolutely. But given the way, a lot of smartphones are attached to people today, it seems hard to see them not having to use apps to help them.
Well, how long will it be before we're doing a FiST chat on should your smartphone tell you not to have that next serve?
Absolutely. At least as long as Siri's not doing it. All right, Steve, we're out of time, so thanks again for the chat.
Oh, no, thank you, Ben, and thank you, FiST Chat fans. Tweet us and let us know just how disciplined you are with what you're eating.
Absolutely. So that's it for this week's episode, so we'll catch you next week.